Marijuana is now legal in some form in 23 states, and I have a really important statistic to discuss with you that we've just received. The number of Americans who fatally overdosed on marijuana last year in 2014, for which we now have data. That number, Lewis, is 0. According to figures released this month by the Center for Disease Control, the same number of people overdosed in 2014 as the number from 2013, 0. We can't say the same for many other substances, both legal and illegal. 17,465 people died from overdosing on illegal drugs like heroin and cocaine last year. Over 25,000 people died from overdosing on prescription drugs, including painkillers and tranquilizers like Valium. And opioid overdose levels rose sharply in 2014. The CDC is now describing opioid overdose levels as an epidemic. We have a huge overdose problem we have a huge opioid problem, Lewis, here in Massachusetts, both painkillers leading to heroin. And without getting into details, if you walk around not that far from our studio, you see that issue firsthand.
Yeah, that's, of course, a much bigger problem than marijuana. I mean, I think we're pretty close to having, I don't know how many years, we can say years, recreational marijuana nationwide. I mean, I think that's going to happen. The federal level changes will be made, and then we can really focus on the bigger problems.
Yeah, I don't know that I see national recreational marijuana legal anytime soon. I mean, we still have 27
I'm
states.
I'm not saying in like a year or two.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe like 10 years.
And don't forget about alcohol. I mean, so accessible, killing Americans at the highest rate in 35 years. More than 30,000 Americans died from alcohol-induced causes last year. And that doesn't even include alcohol-related deaths like drunk driving or accidents. This is not about cheerleading the smoking of marijuana, right? I mean, marijuana can be psychologically addictive, if not physically. Smoking anything, whether it's marijuana or whatever, smoking is not good for your lungs. Impaired driving can be an issue. It's more about the hypocrisy, Lewis, of the classification of marijuana as a Schedule I drug in the context of what else is happening in this country.
That is true. But if someone who has that personality type and is stressed out and is having issues and is going to gravitate towards substance abuse,
sure,
wouldn't you rather have them using pot than drinking excessively? I mean, I think that, yes, that is a definite yes for me.
I think you're probably right in that particular scenario. And yes, and then this is all, of course, aside from the stifling of really exploring the medicinal applications of marijuana and cannabis, but as a result of how the drug is scheduled. So 0, the number of people who died from marijuana overdose in 2014, a very important number that we should all remember.